For the call today, we're going to go through some different concepts. I'll talk about some different things, and then we'll drop into a meditation and then have space for journaling. So if you want to grab a journal right now, I can pause for a second. Um, okay, great. Okay, so we'll just start connecting to the breath and dropping down into the body, dropping into this moment together. First, just noticing that we're not sitting in an empty room, but sitting inside a living, breathing body of reality. So, feeling that in ourselves and in the space around us, this constant interface, this intimacy and connection with life, with the body of reality. Feeling the air, the sensation of the air, and feeling this as the breath of this body of reality, not separate from us, breathing through us and with us, moving around and through us and with us. The ground beneath us as it's flush. The sounds pulsating through its nervous system. Your own heartbeat, an integral part of that rhythm, vibrant, pulsating, feeling, a feeling, living reality, the great mystery. And there's a verse from the Tao, verse 6. Life can be said to be nothing. The nothing can be said to be zero. Those who speak too much can say, it is like a goddess. Those who know always know. It is beautiful, yet modest in its infinity. Feel for a moment what it's like to stop trying to understand life and instead allow life to move through you. Feel yourself being mused, like a leaf carried on a current, floating down, swirling this way, swirling that way. And ask yourself, what wants to birth through me into this mystery? And I'll just give a moment to be with that question. We cannot be separated from this mystery. We are one of the ways that it expresses itself. We cannot leave the path. We cannot fall off. In our birthing, living, and dying, the mystery always danced and always will. Mm. And so today, this is what we're sitting with and connecting to, feeling into space before we talk, before we think, before we try to understand, just noticing that we are here inside something vast, alive, intelligent, and mysterious, not separate from it. Just taking a couple deep breaths, feeling the exchange of life force energy, the prana life force energy, bringing in the oxygen, the information from the plants, exhaling out what we're ready to release, returning that carbon dioxide to the plants, participating in this exchange. Reciprocity. Hmm. Maybe taking one more deep breath, really feeling your body, feeling the breath, expanding the chest, expanding the belly, and sighing it out. And welcome. Happy Sunday. Really glad to be here with you all. So, what's on my mind this week and this morning, especially, is the mystery and being touched and moved by the mystery and allowing that to flow through us and the ways that we're programmed and put under pressure to spend so much of our time and our mental energy, our life force energy, trying to figure life out, trying to figure out how to get it to mold to our desires and our expectations and our dreams. And missing the mark with the art of making love. Because in the art of making love, there is courtship and presence and connection and romance. But in our society today, in our economy today, in the place that we find ourselves, it leaves little space and room for romancing and being romanced by life, by the mystery, by the relationship with it. And so we find ourselves, as a result, in these positions where we want it to bend to our will because we are seeking some reprieve or some comfort or some safety. And the ask really is to make those moves, take those small steps every day to connect to this mystery, not to try to figure it out, but to instead give the breath and the space to be mused by it. Because when you plant seeds into something, right, into the metaphorical womb of reality, whenever we plant our seeds of consciousness, our dreams, our desires, right, in the art of making love, there is a level of presence and a level of receiving inspiration, an interactive relationship that comes before we plant our seeds. We don't just scatter our seeds and take and try to extract what we wish. We turn the compost, we turn the leftovers and the waste into rich soil. We tend that soil lovingly and carefully and kindly. We create a bed for the seed. We plant the seed intentionally. We cover it with tender soil that we've turned ourselves. We water it. We give it our love and our attention. And then we walk away and we trust. And we do this dance. And there's such an essential, key, necessary part of this journey in life that is allowing ourselves to be mused by the mystery. And nature is a living expression of this mystery. The sun, the wind, the water, the earth, birth, growing, living, dying, decay, lovemaking, the seasons, the constant fluctuations. This is the body of reality moving through us and as us. And we are it. We are that. Tat Vamasi, thou art that. We are inside it, not observing it. We're being breathed by it, being moved by it. And it is not meant to be transcended. It is meant to touch us. And the way in which we are moved when we are touched by life is the way in which we move others. We're not meant to transcend this reality or the feelings and sensations. We're not meant to connect to only those things that feel desirable, to feel the happiness and the joy. Life cannot exist without death. It is planted, the foundation of life is rooted in soil that mycelium moved through so beautifully and intelligently to break down the remains of what came before so that those new seeds could be planted. And those feelings, those things that are challenging for us in life, those hard emotions, that which we resist, the death, to be in a relationship with life and in a relationship with the body of reality and to allow ourselves to merge with it and create from that space is to connect to and learn to love and accept all aspects of the body of reality. The necessity of all aspects of the body of reality. Even those things that we sometimes find hard to accept. And that is why we go to nature to be mused. we go to a quiet space in nature to be reminded of the beauty and necessity of everything that unfolds, the way that it creates space and holds space for what comes next. And so there's no guideline or rule book for connecting to the great mystery, that thing which I even find really difficult to describe, this relationship that we each have our own very personal experience of, that, the best we can do is try to point to it, to the direction of it, is to move and be moved by it, and to allow our feelings to flow and create art and inspire. And in all these ways, we point to our relationship to it. But each person's path is different, and there is no path to follow. And we're not meant to be conquerors or authors of life. We're meant to be written by it. Just as the leaf sitting on top of the stream just flows with the current. And so there's this space within ourselves that we can access when we really let all aspects of life touch us. It means opening to tenderness. It means opening to feeling all things. And we can find this space where we are so inspired by reality, so deeply inspired that we naturally become inspirational to others. And there's a big difference between wanting to and trying to be inspirational versus being mused by something greater. And in a way, dev living in devotion to whatever it is that you connect to. And honoring that devotion in your day-to-day path and the way that you walk and move through this world. And as many of us contemplate what we're doing with our lives, trying to figure out what that thing is, I just invite taking a pause to focus on the courtship and focus on the presence and that part of the art of making love, because we're always making love to life. This is part of the dance. We're always touching reality. Right now, as I move my hands through this air, the atoms that make up this vessel are interacting with the atoms in the space around me, and we're merging. And so I invite you to drop from the mind and its conceptualization of what we're going to do next, and drop into the heart and the feeling body. And whenever we let it in and let it move us. It naturally muses and inspires through us what next dance moves to make. I wouldn't even say what next steps to make because we're just dancing here. So, which way we dance this way with her, and we dance this way, and what I refer to as the Great Mother whenever I'm saying the body of reality, just however you connect to it, however you relate to it, dancing with it. So you're moving, and it's inspirational. It feels good. It inspires you. It inspires more dance moves. And then maybe some people don't like the way you dance, and maybe some people start dancing with you, and just have a beautiful journey of dancing and creating art and supporting each other as we move through this beautiful, infinite space and the great mystery, the body of reality. So, yeah, there's this space that we can touch that is a space of surrendering into the current and flow of reality instead of constantly trying to steer. And we have very, very powerful minds. And so whenever we witness something beautiful and inspirational, something so synchronous that it cannot possibly be a coincidence, using our attention and focus with wisdom and precision is not naivety. It is intentional focus. It is intentional direction of your very, very powerful creative mind. And nurturing that seed. And that's where it began for me, experiencing a couple of really, really profound synchronicities in life where it just like knocked me off my feet to the point where I was like, wow, I really trust in this reality. Not only do I trust in the beautiful things and the beautiful things that it offers me, but I trust in the pain that it brings me. I trust in the heartbreak that it brings me. I trust in all the places it brings me to. And that relationship of trust is just something that's built. We, we go out and we seek to connect and we, like I said, we court this relationship. We appreciate the beauty of nature. We respect all the seasons. We respect all the phases of life. We appreciate the little budding flower. We appreciate the soil that it's sitting in and the log that had died and fallen down and the mushroom that broke it down and built this beautiful substrate. And we respect it for all that it is. And we respect ourselves for all that we are. And 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 the journey unfolds. And in my experience, as the path deepens, the path of relationship with life itself, um, touching and being touched by life itself, it just becomes more and more intimate and more difficult to describe to others. It's just something that you live and and that is your gift, your offering to this world is your devotion to whatever it is that you're devoted to, your devotion to your art, and your devotion to your craft, and your devotion to your path of service. And of course, it is important to be informed about terrible things happening in the world and injustices, and to act when called in the name of justice. That is not something that is bypassed. That's not something that can or should be bypassed. And that's something that I'm speaking to whenever I say this reality is not meant to be transcended. Because I'm speaking to connecting to the beauty of nature and the necessity of all the layers and all the steps and stages of its unfurling and its unfolding and letting it in. And that's inspirational in beautiful ways. And also sometimes because your heart is open, because you've let it in, it also invites sensitivity to pain because you care and because you love, because you care about the earth. The deeper you connect to it, the more intimate you are with it, the more that you care and care about the people. You care about what happens to them. You care about the future that's unfolding. You know, one time I was in Peru, way up in the mountains, and had an experience where the some horrible things happening to people around the world, the pain of that reality really flowed up through my heart. And I was crying on the top of this mountain and just feeling um, some really, really deep grief. And as much as my pleasure practice is, and my practice of dancing and musing and being mused, so is my practice of allowing grief to muse me and move me and inspire me to act and inspire me to take steps in whatever way that I can to have a positive impact. And I was up on this mountain and I was crying and it was way up there, so it was very cloudy. And whenever I started to cry, the clouds began to part. And I've been to this top of this mountain many times, and there are times whenever the clouds just never part. It's thick up there. And right when I started to cry, the clouds parted, and my teacher came down and found me, and he was like, "She's opening, like let's go." And so he took me up to this viewpoint, and we looked out, and we could see so far. And the next day, I saw a post, and it said, "Today, the world opened her palm and revealed to you a wound, not to ask that you fix it, but just that you feel it too. You wept and the sky grew quiet, and that was enough." And so little moments like this are things that I kind of string together and are my drishti, my focal point that keep me in this relationship and in this dance. And so on that note, right, it is important to be connected to all aspects of this reality and to act whenever we're called in the name of justice. But if we never enter the inner sanctum of beauty, we do dry up spiritually. And this is something that I denied myself for a long time because being so sensitive to and caring so much about the suffering in this world, it felt wrong to know joy, wrong to seek joy in some way. And And so it was quite a journey for me to come to a space of understanding and recognizing that this balance is necessary and that entering this inner sanctum of beauty and nourishment and reciprocity is necessary so that we don't dry up spiritually. It's important to maintain contact with awe, lest our activism becomes bitter. And it is important to maintain contact with reverence, lest our awareness becomes crushing weight. And so we're on this path of learning to walk one foot in this physical reality and its manifestations and its stories, and one foot in the mystery. One foot in that space where we're like, how can this be? And one foot in the space where we're like, I trust, I trust in this mystery. I trust in this great mystery. And as much as we need to, we can go to nature and look to her for a reminder of the necessity of all things and a reminder that things are always changing and evolving and transforming. And so too are we as individuals and as a human race. And so we surrender our minds and our hearts to the paradox of this living, breathing reality, which is always birthing, creating, destroying, composting, loving, and as it reflects to us all these different dynamic aspects of life. So too, we're reminded that we are doing the same things: birthing, creating, destroying, composting, loving, dying, living. All of it is happening inside of us. I mean, at the biological level, in our cells are constantly rebirthing themselves, dying, being released and given back. We're part of this. And we are in a constant act of making love to life. This, this, like I said, as I move my hands through this air, I am touching reality. I'm merging with it, and we're always giving birth to something through our thoughts, words, presence, and actions. And so the question is much, much deeper than what am I doing with my life? The question is, what am I giving birth to in each moment as I merge with reality? Through the small choices that I make every day, through the way I treat myself, through the way I treat others, the way I see this world. Where is there space for me to show up with more reverence and love and care? Maybe for my animals or my plants, for the soil and the land where I live, for the water. What am I giving birth to in each moment as I merge with reality through my state of being? What is my contribution to this field? So just taking a deep breath here, maybe putting one hand over your heart, one hand over your belly, feeling your body. connecting to the intelligence of this body of reality, letting it in. And we'll drop into a short meditation together. So if you want to find a comfortable seat or lie down, you can bring your hands down to your lap. Maybe bring your spine a little straighter, a little stronger. And we're going to connect to the stillness that is found in the pause, in the prolonged exhale. When we hold the exhale for a bit longer, it can quiet the mind and quiet the body. Slow the heart rate a bit. So we'll inhale for 4, just hold for a moment, and then we'll exhale for 6. The inhale will be through the nose, the exhale will be through the mouth. So inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just doing a few of those on your own. I'll do some too. One more, and then softly returning to just a normal, natural breath, allowing the air to fall in and out naturally. Connecting to the beautiful miracle and metaphor of the breath. That just as much as we are consciously breathing, so too we can stop thinking about it and we continue to be breathed. And this points to the topic of this call today. Connecting to that beautiful paradoxical place, the interplay between planting the seeds and being the space where the seeds are planted. Planting the seeds of your dreams for yourself and for this world. And leaving it up to how well the seeds take in the soil, how well they take to the water, doing your part and releasing the outcome, leaving so much space for other seeds to be planted in you, for life to water those seeds. Your job being to turn the compost, all that undigested emotional waste and trauma, to feed your body and nourish your body well, so that the soil is rich and fertile. to show up to life and to court the body of reality, to allow it to court you. To be both breathing and being breathed. Feel your feet on the earth. Feel this pulsating, living intelligence beneath you and within you. This power so ancient and far greater than any social or economical constructs. This great mother that will hold you if you let her. And as you learn to love her for all that she is, you learn to love yourself for all that you are. You learn to love others for all that they are. Imagine you're walking on fertile ground, rich volcanic soil, so rich in minerals and composted remnants of what came before, information from ages ago, sitting in the soil, waiting to pour that information into the seeds that are planted and nourish and back the information in those seeds to sprout and grow into something beautiful. That is the ground of your body and your mind. Tend that garden. And holding a little seed in your hands, a seed that holds all the dreams and love and tenderness, fears, insecurities, regrets, doubts, a seed from the innermost chamber of your heart. Everything that it contains is the medicine that you have to offer to this world. Plant that seed in that rich, beautiful soil. And come back and water it every couple of days. But otherwise, in your day, go for a walk in nature and smell the flowers and listen to the birds and see that she's beautiful. And let her reflect to you that you are beautiful. taking a few more intentional deep breaths here. And starting to move your fingers and maybe turn your head side to side. Maybe a little spinal twist. Just bringing some gentle, loving movements to the body. And whenever you're ready, allowing your eyes to come open. And I'm going to share some questions for the journal prompt. And we'll just flow right into that. So the questions are, when do I feel most connected to the beauty of the body of reality? What am I doing in those moments? And the second question is, how can I spend more time in awe, not just in awareness? And the third question is, what am I birthing? So I'm dropping those in the chat. And I'm just going to put on a little music in the background for your journaling time. I'll pause here so we can have a moment to share, and then if y'all want to keep journaling after we get off the call, have space for that. Um, but yeah, just, in closing, just remembering that we don't have to try to be inspiring. We just let ourselves be deeply inspired by the mystery of being alive. And we will naturally be mused, and muse for one another in that great mystery. So thank you so much.